This report is a result of increased uncertainty and apparent secrecy regarding the true extent of the Chinese government's activities in Africa. The South African civil rights organisation AfriForum instructed Opinor to draft this report after Cyril Ramaphosa, the President of South Africa, undertook several trips to China and announced a partnership and trade agreements with China. However, he has so far disclosed very little information about the true extent of these agreements and what the consequences would be for South Africa. Early in September 2018, the government of South Africa went into a trade agreement with the Bank of China that will see China investing $1 billion in the special economic zones and industrial parks of South Africa. This was one of several deals that were struck between President Ramaphosa and the Chinese government during this last trip. In terms of the agreement between the Bank of China and the South African government, the Bank of China committed to invest money in developing special economic zones in South Africa. The South African Department of Trade and Industry also struck a deal with the National Development and Reform Commission of the Republic of China that is specifically targeted at special economic zones to be developed in the Limpopo Valley in the province of Limpopo near the border with Zimbabwe, which is known as the Musina-Mercado Special Economic Zone. The deal includes the construction over 6 years of a 4,600 megawatt coal-fired power plant and a cement production plant over 3 years. Apparently, it also includes investments in stainless steel plants and ferrochromium or manganese plants. Limpopo's Premier, Stan Mathabata, mentioned that the Chinese committed to invest $11 billion in the project and that the project would also create 21,000 jobs. Although, of course, it is uncertain how many of these jobs would be for local people. Mathabata stated that these agreements had been struck between South Africa and Chinese companies. In September 2018, an opposition party in South Africa questioned the terms and conditions attached to a so-called gift of $25 billion that President Ramaphosa was said to have negotiated with China. People in Africa deserve transparent and democratic governments. The South African public does not know the true extent of these confidential negotiations between the South African and Chinese governments. In November 2019, AfriForum wrote to President Ramaphosa to request clarity on the above-mentioned issues, as well as to the representative of the Limpopo Department of Environment, Economic Development and Tourism to provide answers to questions about the Musina-Mercado Special Economic Zone. The President's office replied, but declined to provide any answers and transferred the request to another department that also failed to provide proper answers. AfriForum met with Limpopo representatives but could not obtain a response to detailed questions about the Chinese money, which is apparently 145 billion rand, invested in this special economic zone.